Welcome to Longreach, central West Queensland. 430 miles we've flown west from the old station through Emerald this morning, and the temperature difference out here compared to the old station is really, well, it's very noticeable. It's about 14 degrees more, I think, out here. When we landed, we had this really strong crosswind, and the views we had looking down on the approach were pretty spectacular. Because this is what we saw, the 747, the 707, the DC-3. Longreach is one of the founding centres for Qantas, and it's here that they celebrate the remarkable history of this Australian icon and where they tell amazing stories of bravery, exploration and adventure. The Qantas Founders Museum is run by a pretty passionate group of people. They are custodians of this very iconic piece of Australian heritage. We're going to have a chat with Nicole, who's going to talk us through this pretty special place. Nicole, Qantas is just such an iconic brand, more than our national carrier. Why is it so iconic? Why are people so passionate about Qantas?
So they've transported people have worked for them, and for an airline to be there for that long, they went through the whole aviation growth. You know, they've been from the beginning to where we are now. So there's a lot of passion behind it. And I think Australians are really proud of that sort of history and passion.
And that history, you know, Fish and McGuinness, it's an extraordinary story, isn't it?
Absolutely. The fact that two men were able to meet each other in a world war and survive the war, come back to Australia and decide to set up an airline. Of all the industries they could have gone into, it was the newest and the most riskiest at the time, you know, to make that decision and succeed. You know, it was really touch and go at times, but yeah, they made it through, and just through some amazing stories to get there.
There were so many challenges, weren't there, for these early pioneers?
Absolutely. They used to fly early morning to avoid the bumpiness of the afternoon sun and you know, the heat coming off the ground. You know, just challenges like being so far out of town for the Longreach airport. You know, it was only in 1924 they got electricity here.
So why at Longreach? Why did they choose this location?
Purely because the railhead was here, so when it comes to transporting goods and that, it was easier from Longreach. They were here in this Longreach hangar until 1930 when they moved to Brisbane, their operations moved to Brisbane.
Nicole, in what respects would today's pilots be facing the same challenges as, say, the early aviation pioneers?
Oh, I think especially in your Western Queensland, outback Queensland, where it gets incredibly hot in summer. You know, pilots definitely out here would really think twice about flying in the middle of the day or late afternoon when it's hot because of the heat coming off the ground, and it makes it incredibly turbulent. You come in on a regular flight here, it can be quite bumpy coming in, so that's something to consider. Also, during the rainy season, you know, we have tarmac here at Longreach, but a lot of the properties around here just have your sort of dirt airstrips. So, you know, if it's been raining, it gets really sticky and muddy out here, so they actually wouldn't be able to land or take off on the aircraft.
And what's your favourite aircraft here, do you think, and why?
Look, I quite like the DH50, and the DH50 has quite a strong past because Qantas actually built 7 of them in this Qantas hangar here in Longreach, which is something a lot of airlines didn't do. They're one of the few airlines to do so. It was also one of the first aircraft that Qantas hired out to the aerial medical mission, which became the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Queensland. And the reason they did that is because it was the first aircraft with an enclosed cabin, which for a passenger not feeling so well was really important. You know, you don't want to be exposed to the elements like the old aircraft when you're not well. So Qantas used to hire out or loan their pilots and their aircraft to help the RFDS out. And you know, it's an amazing story, and being out here, living out here, it makes such a difference to have the RFDS to know that they're going to be here and come and get you if you need that help. You know, we still use that service that, you know, started so long ago. So, and it's nice to think Qantas was a part of that really important service.
It's an incredible vision by John Flynn, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Apparently he actually approached Qantas a couple of times saying, hey, really would like to use your aircraft, and the aircraft just weren't right at the time. So in 1926 when they got the DH50, it sort of changed everything.
And as you say, so relevant today still, and will continue to be, really.
Absolutely, yeah. People fundraise out here for the RFDS. Everyone's been affected or helped by the RFDS. So Yeah, it's actually nice to live in a place which is still so affected by Qantas. You still have families that worked for Qantas, you know, or their relations did. We get to work in this hangar. You know, this is a pretty special place to be. A lot of Longreach locals use this as their airport terminal, this hangar here. So, you know, it's not such a relic, and it's such an important relic at the same time. So it's one of our most significant sort of items or building museum, which is amazing to think a building is significant as an artifact.
Well, it's a fantastic place to come and see, and it's good to see the celebration of this history. And you do some fundraising too, don't you?
So we're a not-for-profit organisation. We're not owned or operated by Qantas, but of course we have a good relationship with Qantas. So we're fully self-funded. Any support we can get, we really appreciate. Yeah, it helps us to tell these amazing stories that most people don't know. Yeah. They
are incredible stories,
absolutely.
That's for sure. I can't wait to have a bit more of a look around, Nicole.
No worries.
Pleasure meeting you.
Very much.
Thanks.
Cheers.